thank you.
Let's see, time now is 19 minutes past 9. Charities say more than 150,000 people are struggling to get medication for ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder due to a national shortage.
The government says an increased global demand has caused the problem, which could last until December. Our reporter Sophia Seth explains.
Because I've previously struggled with suicidal thoughts and tendencies, and that's why I had my diagnosis in the first place, stopping ADHD medication can be fatal for young people.
Although Jess had ADHD symptoms from a young age, she only got her diagnosis in 2020 and started medication in May.
I'm really, really bad at figuring out when I'm hungry, when I need a drink, and I really felt that improved. I was able to recognise my thoughts, recognise that I was having like one thought at a time and not 20. Now I am back to square one, where it's I really have something to do. Why can I not bring my body to do it? Like in my head, I'm like, yeah, let's get this done. But I physically just cannot move myself to get things done.
There are 3 medicines in short supply. The knock-on effect is impacting pharmacies. Are you having to ration these drugs?
Yeah, we're definitely rationing. But if we have it in stock, we will give it to our patient. Yeah, sometimes GPs are making exceptions, or they're using 2 lots of medication to make up the strength that's required. But we are having to, think outside the box.
The government has said some supply issues could last until December. The Department for Health and Social Care says that increased global demand and manufacturing issues are behind the shortages. It says it's working closely with manufacturers to ensure that this is resolved as quickly as possible and to make sure that patients have continuous access to ADHD medicines.
ADHD medication in short term saves lives. There's going to be a massive problem with a higher rate of mental health issues without ADHD medication.
That was Jess Chandler speaking to our reporter Sophia Seth.
We're joined now by Henry Shelford, who's from the charity ADHD UK. Henry, very good morning to you. Yeah. This is affecting individuals. Do you mind sharing with our audience how it's affecting you personally?
Sure, and it's affecting a lot of individuals. There's 200,000 people in this country in receipt of ADHD medication, and my medication is running out. It's in with the pharmacy. They've not filled it, and I don't think they're going to be able to. And I don't know what's going to happen when it runs out. I've got a problem. Like I use it to focus. It's what makes we all try and do the most we can in every day, right? And suddenly the amount I'm going to be able to do in a day is going to be drastically reduced. And I don't know how much that impact's going to be. I don't know what I'm going to be able to achieve. And I don't know what's going to unravel. And I'm very, very worried about it.
That is a very scary situation to be in.
It is, and it's the bit that we're particularly worried about is the government sort of response to this has been terrible. It's been laughable. So their response is to ask GPs to contact every single one of their ADHD patients and find out their medication and how much they've got. My GP has not been able to contact me, and GPs are well renowned for having lots of spare time and spare capacity to do an entire medication review. And then even then they can't do anything. They have to go to the specialist medical team, and the specialist you're often waiting 2 years. Some areas 2 years, other long time to see that team. That team does not have the capacity to do a medication review of everyone. And medication can take months to get right. And the idea that we can suddenly swap and change is completely wrong. So people are just looking at being without, and there isn't enough medication for everyone. The replacements don't have enough quantity. And so people are staring down the barrel. And ADHD medication is life-changing for so many people, and the removal is it's akin to like taking a wheelchair away from a disabled person. In terms of, you don't die, but you can't work in the same way. You can't be with your family in the same way. You can't contribute to society in the same way. You can't be in society in the same way, and that's what's happening to people with having their ADHD medication removed.
The Department for Health and Social Care spokesperson has said we are aware of the supply issues affecting medicines used for the management of ADHD due to increased global demand. We've issued communications to the NHS to advise healthcare professionals on the management of patients. We continue to work closely with the respective manufacturers to resolve the issues as soon as possible and to ensure patients have continuous access to ADHD medicines in the UK. So that's the official statement. That's, well, your face says something about that. What do you think about that?
It's just completely useless, right? Because GPs don't have the capacity to talk to everyone. The specialist teams don't have the capacity to do a medication review. Medication review isn't possible to do and swap and change. There isn't enough medication for people, and so it's outrageous because it's just useless. But also, like, you know, within ADHD is a tough condition to have. And we know that 1 in 10 men or boys with ADHD will at some point try and take their own life. It's 1 in 4 women or girls. It's tough. And there is there's nothing in there to triage. There's no system to identify those people who are of most concern. There's no system to get the medication that is around, to those people. And that's outrageous.
We also understand from the Department of Health and Social Care that they're adding ADHD products to the export restriction list to protect available supplies for the UK. But I think I know you're looking at
manufactured here. It's manufactured in Ireland.
So it's okay. But they're also so I think what becomes really clear is we were talking just before that more diagnoses are coming through of adults now. So the demand is increasing as well for this medication.
Yeah, so any manufacturer plots demand. You can see the demand. It has been increasing, and it's been increasing particularly in this country because ADHD wasn't formally recognised until the year 2000 for children and 2008 for adults. So of course there's lots of adults coming forward going, like I was missed. I was diagnosed about 8 years ago, and there's no chance of me getting picked up as a child. And just this, what is really painful is it feels like we're being blamed for this problem, like, oh dear, like too many of you got diagnosed. That's a terrible thing. I mean, it's clearly not a terrible thing. Getting a diagnosis and help and support to change your life is not a terrible thing.
Henry, can you go back to what you very kindly shared with us right at the beginning about your own circumstance and how little time you've got left with the medication you have left? When you've used that medication, when that is gone, what will you do? What will happen then?
So the moment is like, the honest answer is I try not to think about it. Because it is actually completely terrifying. I'm really worried about the core stuff, like how I'm going to be with my family. Like people are already really kind to me. They support me. They help me. It's not like life is easy now. Like it is hard. I make mistakes. I make errors that other people don't, and I try really, really hard. I make more effort to get less out oftentimes, and those people around me, like, you know, I worry how I'm going to be with them. I worry about what I'm going to do. I worry about the enormous stress of stuff unraveling, trying to do things and failing, and it does worry me. And honestly, like, hope is not a strategy, and it's currently my strategy.
Well, you're here talking about it and raising awareness of it, so you're taking the steps you can take, which is all we can do, isn't it? Henry, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been really interesting and an eye-opener as well. Henry Shelford there, the Chief Executive and Founder of ADHD UK.
Let's see, time now is 9:27.
We're with you on BBC One until 10 o'clock this morning.